This is Colin Digits. I'm here with the Digits Club and Hypercent co-founder, Andrei. How are you?
Hello, thanks for having me again.
Welcome back.
I'm quite okay, to be honest. Now that the IDO is over, we are pushing for our official launch. Let's say it right, because we have raised money to build something. Of course, we have built quite a lot of that in order to raise the money, as we have used our own launchpad for our sale. But we have a lot more to build, right? I'm not going to spill the beans too much,
Right.
because it's a bit dangerous. But yeah, I was actually speaking to Danielle from Kaddex about our future listing. So I was just before the call, I was
Right.
talking about that. And I think we will get to our listing a bit later, because obviously we have to cover the IDO, right? You've told me you have some questions about our sale and so on. So
yeah, I mean the Kaddex is obviously on the radar for most people, but yeah, I'm very curious. You know, we don't get a lot of launchpads in general that have just launched their own token. And from a founder's point of view, how was the experience? What were the things that you expected to go worse that went really well? And what were some of the things that you were like, oh, that didn't go as smooth?
well, I mean, at the time of the IDO, we had like 9.2K people on Telegram, right? Because like the game theory was that you have to be on Telegram and then join a lottery. And if you want to win a lottery, you're going to go through a KYC and then be able to use your allocation. But we've seen that a lot of, I mean, not a lot of people, it could be like 3 or 4 people or maybe 10 people, employed some bots in order to win this allocation. And we would know that they would do that. But frankly, to just annoy them and make them work before changing that, we've just placed KYC before the lottery. Obviously, this led to some fun stuff of people complaining that how am I going to know which of my 30 accounts has won and go do KYC? And they couldn't, obviously, because that's what happens when you try to rig a system. So since then, maybe like 600 users have left our Telegram our Telegram group, which I'm okay with, because I want a very high online to total ratio, and that's only better for us. Also, about like 200 people tried to McLovin this with fake IDs. Like 200 people didn't pass KYC because they used fake IDs and so on. So it was a fun process, but in the end, a lot of things went really, really well. So let's say from those 9,000 users, out of which maybe 600 were like bots or something. I don't know. But let's see where it stops. Like 5,300 or something joined whitelist, and then out of those people, about almost 4,000 people, man, passed KYC. And like, I don't know how many failed, like 400 people failed KYC. So, 4,000 people on KYC is a lot, man, for your start. And having them, like half of our Telegram group is KYC, kind of shows the whole point of growing organically, And it also shows that it pays off to not do airdrops. If you're going to call people in a place for free money, you're going to get people who only want free money most of the time.
Sure, yeah, makes sense.
But if the call to action is come here for your chance to be part of this project, to own this coin, this is your call to action, you're going to get maybe, I don't know, 3 times less people, but people who are really interested in that call to action, which basically shows. And imagine that we have like 1.5K users from the US and they couldn't participate. So if we didn't have country restrictions, I presume that we would have possibly around 6,000 KYC users.
And what was the most interesting, I think, general point from the audience to join the actual launch, right? Because For some, that might be, token appreciation. For some, that might be the first launchpad on the Kadena blockchain. So they actually support Kadena. What was like the main thing, which was like the coherent pattern among most of these IDO participants, you think?
Well, I mean, it's not the first launchpad on Kadena per se, because there is KD launch, and they have raised like I think in December or something like that. But on the other hand, I would call it the first launchpad, as they have raised with first come, first served, and a swap contract and a wallet API, whereas we have built a launchpad even for a raise with KYC and a lottery of whitelist and so on. So yeah, that's discussable, especially if you ask them. Yeah, a lot of people joined because they're part of a Kadena ecosystem. Kadena has made a lot of people rich. I mean, a lot of people have bought Kadena at 30 cents and it went to 28 at some point, dollars, right? So there was a lot of, let's say, profits ready to go in stuff on Kadena, because when a blockchain makes profit, there's two reasons people buy. One of them is that they have a lot of money now, a lot more than they used to. So relatively, they have more money. And secondly, it's a very simple confirmation bias, because you're going to invest in the blockchain that already made you a lot of money, because if it succeeds, it's going to make you a lot of money on both ends, even blockchain wise. If the projects launch and you're starting to think this is going to be a Solana and so on, and also because you're buying tokens on that blockchain, especially Launchpad tokens, which are usually tied to a lot of IDOs. So that's the unofficial answer. The official answer is people bought our token so they have access to IDOs, using it and staking it and so on, to get better chances of participating. What was interesting though was that, as a Launchpad, I think that one of your top jobs is business development, right? You need to bring projects, but you also need to have new users. So we thought, okay, we are not going to base our sale on the existing Kadena user base only, because that's the lazy thing to do. So basically, we have reached out to a lot of they have reached out to us, and we have made deals with them with whitelist spots and so on. We still had zero marketing costs during our whole IDO, only offered whitelist spots to everybody, which obviously works if you're building something that people appreciate. So I think 30% of our community is BSC as well, Solana as well. So people from like BSC pad, from Selenium, because a lot of them were like, where can I import this in Phantom Wallet? How can I how can I sell this on PancakeSwap? So there are a lot of people who are unfamiliar with Kadena, and they are now have already started going back to their original communities and spreading the word about Kadena and about Hypercent.
That's amazing. So the exposure flow,
And imagine, because they are token holders right now, when things go north and they go nicely, there's only more people, because there's nothing more powerful than word of mouth, especially sincere word of mouth, not like asking people to share your stuff and everybody says the same thing because it's a bounty. I mean, because people can smell like marketing word of mouth or salesy stuff, and through word of mouth, when literally people, speak well about you. And they will, because it was very exhausting. I think I have like 900 separate Telegram chats. So if you go in folders on Telegram, it's going to show how many chats you have. I have 900 just DMs chats, not groups, just people I have spoken to since November. We were very close to the community, and whatever people were asking, we helped them even in DMs.
Oh, I think that's the way, right? I mean, there's a lot of other launch pads, and you really gotta differentiate yourself at some point. The additional support that you might offer, people will be grateful for that for a long time, perhaps in the future.
As well, because there are a lot of people new to Kadena. We had to teach them some Kadena tech stuff, So explain stuff. Obviously,
Herman helped me with the wallet because I fucked it up in the beginning. I sent it to the wrong chain.
It's different, with 20 chains and so on. It's a different concept, So that went well. Whitelist and KYC. Obviously, there were some things broke. we repaired them as usual in tech. Also, there were problems like, for example, when you created a new wallet, some people used translate and their mnemonic was translated as well. So the fields of the seed phrase got translated for some people.
Oh, right.
Which is kind of fucked up because you're not going to be able to use them unless
to put it in.
Translate them perfectly the way they used to be, right? And you have synonyms and so on. So yeah, some people like, I don't know, there were some KYC bugs as well, like people from South Korea who wrote in their characters, they weren't recognized, and they told them like it's the wrong name or something like that. Small stuff like that.
No, but I mean, like those minor things, as long as there's like no major outage or data leaks, then all these small things, they're good. So moving forward, right? You obviously had a great launch, right? I followed it myself. It was super smooth. I was super happy. So you have a lot of direct support from the Digits Club, right? So what do you think that the next steps? You talked about Kaddex. Right, the token listing and projects.
So I told you earlier that a lot of people couldn't buy, right? I forgot to tell you the numbers, like 1.6K people, 1,617 people bought in our IDO, which is quite a big number. The easy way is to have a high max cap. So, you know, that's the easy way if you ask me. The hard way is to have a lot of holders and lower the max cap. So a lot of people, you know, own and use your coin. Otherwise, you're going to have 200 users, and that's going to
like a bigger spread.
Let's say rich users or richer, I don't know, but yeah. So since like 1.6K people bought, there's probably, I don't know, 4,000 more who didn't, or more, I don't know, because we had like 20K visits on our website. Not everybody, some people just didn't even whitelist because they were from the US or from some other banned country. So there's probably 3 times more people who are able to get our token on Kaddex. And yeah, here they have no max cap, it's open market. And we have spoken to Kaddex about this. The Kaddex is live, by the way. There's a version 1 of Kaddex. Obviously, not the super hot version 2, but it's still a good swap, right? It's the best you can get on Kadena right now. And Kaddex were nice enough. Obviously, they hadn't integrated X Wallet in version 1 because they were waiting for version 2, which is around the corner. But on the other hand, we didn't want to keep people locked, right, until version 2 is out. So we asked Kaddex, and they were nice enough to integrate X Wallet in their version 1 of DEX. And now you can import your seed phrase into it. And when it's live, our token, it's basically going to go, it's going to be actually the second pair on Kaddex, because there's now Kadena Flux pair, and it's going to be Kadena Hype pair, which is pretty cool because besides the fact that Kaddex has 10,000 wallet users, there's also our users now who come in.
I mean, you contribute to the ecosystem, and the whole ecosystem contributes back to you. And
besides that, Kaddex has had some raises. And there's Kaddex holders who want to use Kaddex, the platform, and they will have to trade Hype because it's either Hype Kadena, it's either Kadena Flux and Hype Kadena, right? So I think the opportunity is very good on that side because we can do it sooner and then move the liquidity to the new Kaddex when it's ready, right?
Right. So somebody is asking, there was a discussion about the starting price on Kaddex. Opinion was that it might be too low. What is your opinion on that?
I mean, you know, it's not a centralized exchange listing. It's a pool. You cannot buy at that price. It's not like I'm market selling Hype at 50 cents, right? I'm going to start a pool, and after the first person buys Hype, it will
fluctuate. Right. So, is there any, how big do you reckon the liquidity pool would be that would be supplied there?
We want to have 500,000 in liquidity.
Oh, all right.
Basically.
Fair enough. So yeah, that would give enough room for at least the amount of people that hold Hype to expand significantly, right?
I mean, Yeah, because I think a lot of people who hold hype also could have bought more, and because I have a lot of people have DM'd me to hire the max cap and so on, and I knew this from even from the Israeli and Turkish community. I knew that there were like people there who like big Kadena holders. Kadena is very big in Israel and Turkey, US as well, obviously. So obviously I cannot talk a lot about price and so on because it's besides the point. So yeah, they're asking like, I'm not sure if it's going to be in 10 days. It's going to be when we decide it's going to be. So even if Kaddex is ready in 10 days, maybe we decide it should be in 2 weeks because we have to prepare some stuff as well for the listing.
Might so, wanna, do you take the market into consideration when you would make that decision?
Well, I think we basically raised in the bottom of Kadena for the past months. Like besides like a ugly week, if we look at monthly closure, we raised in the bottom. So everybody who participated in our IDO participated in a bad market. You know, the market is a lot better now than when we had our IDO. And also during the months when people were asking for whitelists, things were even less prettier than now. So whatever happens from now on until like 2 weeks later, it
won't influence your opinion on it.
Yeah, it can only be better if you ask me. I mean, obviously it's crypto, but if things are worse than 1 month ago in 2 weeks, I think we have higher problems than the Hypercent listing, like all of us.
Fair enough.
I would think
obviously, I would say as the co-founder, right? If Bitcoin would shoot to 25K, you're not going to list likely, right?
Obviously, but I'm not going to think about black swan events and so on. I think we were privileged to raise in a red market. That's when you get the best supporters, you know. When everything is flying, like everybody's your friend. Everybody's your friend when they made like 20
even with the launchpads. Yeah, that's what we see a lot. That the launchpads, obviously in a bull market, launch after launch, everything does like the X's. Everybody's super happy. When the market turned bearish, everybody cries about the launchpad tokens that they have that devaluate. But obviously, there's less launches. Everything slows down.
Exactly, and yeah, so we didn't really want to. I mean, we are happy to get the best supporters during those red times, right? So I don't think anything can happen. People want to buy more. People are like, they keep like asking, when do you list? I couldn't get in the white list. I couldn't pass the KYC. I couldn't whatever, right? So yeah, they keep writing on the Hypercent channel and so on. So yeah, it's pretty clear why we moved. I mean, we could have said we are going to wait for Kaddex version 2, right?
Yeah.
But we don't want to wait, man. Because Kaddex version 2 is a different opportunity in itself, right? It's like a secondary listing somehow. You're going to move liquidity there, but you're going to have a different user base of people who are excited to come on the gas-free DEX that has like one-sided pairs and so on, liquidity and so on. Like it's
yeah, and if you're ready, you're ready. You know, in that case, how? Because Jason has some good questions. He's asking specific schedule. So if you would launch the hype token on Kaddex, let's say for an estimate 2 weeks, right? In the next 2 weeks, maybe the next month somewhere. How long do you reckon it takes from the actual hype token to be launched to the first IDO to be presented on Hypercent?
Well, the first IDO is going to be during the summer, which doesn't tell a lot, but also tells a lot, right? So I cannot divulge important stuff because obviously it is important stuff, but it is going to be during the summer, and we have the projects who will launch, and we have projects that people think we are going to launch and we won't. We also have projects that people think we are going to launch and we will, but we also have projects that people don't know about. So stop guessing, guys. Stop guessing. I'm not going to reply to you. Is it this or is it that? I'm not going to.
At some point, of course, because summer, like for me, it would be June. Doesn't matter if it's July or whatever. You're at least looking at like a 6 to 8 week period of like stable activity of the Hype token. Would there be like a roadmap announcement? Because I would understand that if you are looking to acquire more Hype, right, to participate on the Launchpad, you would release the staking for the dust and that kind of shit over those weeks as well, right, in that time frame.
We won't release it before the listing because, you know.
No, I mean like after the listing, but before the first
obviously,
idea
we
of
will
listing.
release like the allocation system and so on before the listing, before the actual IDO that we will hold,
Yeah.
right? It's and we have also stuff we are working on that people don't know of. So there's not only the part people see, but and they will be announced as well, and they will be seen because we're already working on them. So yeah, we won't like do backflips before the Kaddex listing just so people want it more, because they have all the reasons and they seem to want it more already, and I don't
Yeah, sure. Like I never really believe in no utility hype, right? I mean, if the token will have utility, we all know that it will. We all know how a Launchpad works, but there's no reason like to show AAA titles and then, oh, they're actually not going to list. It pumps, it dumps, it's useless.
Exactly.
Right?
And besides that, man, you know, a lot of projects are forcing people into staking and then come with the bad news. And I've seen that so many times. I mean, staking is good, locked value is good, but on the other hand, if something has utility, you want it for its utility, not because I'm forbidding you to sell it. You know?
Yeah, unless you have something to hide, right? I mean, that's
hide.
why they dodgy these platforms.
Or like,
makes sense.
Yeah, usually the staking and so on mechanism, they synchronize before listings, so people who bought a shit ton in private cheaper can just throw their bags away, you know. So basically, you're going to lock some people, and then somebody is going to come and dump on their heads, and they can not do anything about it because they locked their tokens.
Tokens are locked. Well, I've seen. Let's not drop any names, but I've seen some Launchpad offer like 5-year staking options. In my opinion, that's like beyond retarded, right? Because you don't know, like 5 years is way too long. But what do you think
like
about
50
something
years
like that?
in normal life, 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, it's just so basically you're just throwing your money away for the allocation. Basically, you get the allocation, but your money that you staked is gone, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but besides that, I've seen so many projects that have raised a lot in private, and even Launchpads. I mean, even cool Launchpads. I'm sure have like a lot of Luna people here, Terra people. I'm looking at Atlo protocol, right? Very cool Launchpad and so on, but Star Terra as well. But if you're going to look at their token charts, and even if you're going to look at their sale, I mean, Atlo raised 2 million in private and 4.5 more million in public out of the 6 that they wanted to raise. So basically, everybody who wanted to buy Atlo got it.
Right.
And then they list their tokens, and obviously it went down. And this is, I've seen that, and I'm not talking here about pumping tokens and so on, but if you, why would you raise more than you need, right? How do you need 8 million to build a Launchpad? I mean, I know you need money in crypto, you know, it is expensive. It is expensive to list. You need, like, liquidity wise, if you want your token to be healthy, you need to put a lot of the raised money into liquidity as a DEX in the DEX, right? But in the end, you know, if you are going to raise more than you need, you know, and sell to everybody, obviously people will want their money back at some point, because it doesn't feel exclusive. It doesn't feel like, you know, and I was looking at charts on Terra projects, and I was amazed to see that all of them look like rug pulls. Most of them, like, I swear, I don't understand.
Why is that? Why do you think they look like
man.
rug pulls?
They
Is it
raise
just
a
like
lot.
one downward trend and that's it, or?
No, they're like, they launch and there's like a massive red market sell candle, and then they slowly consolidate and try to get up.
Would that be like the TGE then in that case, or like the vesting release of tokens?
I think it's people buying a lot cheaper in private all the time. That's the reason for people, because like if you're going to buy like at 50 cents and people in public have bought it at 5 cents, let's say, and people in private have bought it 8 cents. Obviously, when the other way around, in public, you know, the people from private will start to sell it like,
yeah, take some profit
maybe,
right?
And then people from public will get scared and it's going to go to the private price. At which point
do
the
you
smart
think,
investors won't sell.
yeah, do you think that if somebody, me, would review tokenomics beforehand, I think most people don't read the tokenomics, because you can definitely see if private would be, let's say, 8 cents and public is 20 cents, you know they're going to fuck you, right? There, or at least they're going to screw you over.
It's not also always that easy, because sometimes the details are like, the devil is hidden in the details. Like, look, let me drink some water. Imagine this, people are buying, imagine the other way around of fucking the private people. I've seen this project and I won't name it. People have brought in private, like at, I don't know, 1 cent, let's say, right? And this project has sold like 20% of its tokens, right? At 1 cent, right? And then they have a public. Those guys from private have a vesting of 6 months plus, right? And then they have sold in public at, I don't know, let's say 6 cents, only 1% of the token, which have no vesting. And then basically what they did was list those tokens with only 1% of circulating supply and use the money they got in the 20% raise and fucking pump their own tokens, because there's a very small supply in the market, and the market makes it to like 30x to 30 cents. And all of a sudden there's like people who bought in private and they're like, oh my God, I did a 30x with a lot of unrealized gain. And they're like, oh my God, so nice. And then as soon as they catch new public people, they start to dump. And it gets to like 4 cents. Obviously, people from private have made some money now, but they have like 6x down unrealized gains. So everybody is unhappy, basically. People from public, only the project owners are happy because they obviously fucking market dumped when people were investing.
Yeah, so either like it's just the short-term vision or the lack of advisory, right? Because if you see,
it's just hunger. And I think 2022 is the year of transparency and of fair projects, you know? Because if you look back, like, you know, the announcement of announcements hasn't been here with us in 2020, let's say, in 2021.
Oh, like the things like big announcement coming next week and everybody buys a token.
It wasn't here anymore. And I think 2022 will
no, I think that's like a fair process. We did that with our own community once, right? The announcement of announcement.
Yeah, but
thereafter,
if you're
never done it again.
If you have a listed token, it's different, right?
I think like in any way, it would never like benefit, because the thing is, what if you cannot live up to the hype, right?
Because
that's the whole thing.
Always have like people have, you know, that one of the biggest reasons why people buy NFTs is variable rewards. So variable rewards is like the highest rewarded thing in the brain. So basically that's why people play slot machines, because every time on the screen you get something new. And that's why people buy NFTs, because they have like different various, right? And you can get the rare one. So basically in your head is like, I'm going to spin this to get the 7s. So basically this is what happens with NFTs that have like traits.
Let's not talk too much shit about NFTs, guys. NFTs are great, specifically if a company is going to make character NFTs. They are amazing.
That's great, but this is why people, a lot of them are buying it.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Gambling. So anyways, yeah, I don't know what I was saying with
You were going to say that Hypercent is also going to list NFT projects. Was that not the case?
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I'm not going to deny it as well.
Ooh, okay. So some juicy indirect alpha information here.
I mean,
what do you think when you
Kadena supports fractional ownership on NFTs natively?
Right.
So it would be stupid to not help people develop.
To take advantage of that. Yeah. What do you think when you scout the projects, right? Because I mean, I think it says like people can apply for IDO on Hypercent.
Not
And
now, but they will when we upgrade our website post
when it
IDO.
opens. Yeah. Okay. I checked out the website yesterday. If the with all the because that's the mock-ups perhaps, right? The things that show what I think it's interesting because we know how Launchpads works, right? We do this all the time. What I would like to know, which I don't think we all know, is how you scout these projects. Of course, I know how like they reach out to you, you reach out to some that you would like, you have a talk. But what do you think are the most important things to consider? Are you going to focus maybe solely on games, or will you take up a different style? Is it like more of a personal feeling that you have with the founder? What do you think is most important?
Well, for us in Kadena, it's very important early on that those people are, I mean, the community knows them somehow because it's early blockchain. It's an early blockchain, and you know, not early per se because the mainnet is here for 2 years, but ecosystem wise, it's pretty early. So we know that people from the community are building, and we have seen them supporting us. But more importantly, it's not how you like scout them, because at this point, the best thing you can do is communicate the right things to projects about Kadena itself, because projects are going to come to build on Kadena for 2 reasons. One, it's a safe blockchain, it can scale and so on, you can give them the advantages. And two, you can raise here. A good project will have to face like 7 shit dog projects on BSC. It's very hard to launch a good project when there's so much noise around. So obviously,
Right.
if you present Kadena as like as the serious blockchain that it is and so on, you're going to get the type of projects you are looking for. If you're going to openly communicate that you are not looking for shitcoins, like dog Shiba owner stuff,
Right.
right?
The meme stuff,
You
yeah.
will communicate. Besides that, why we did the, I've told you earlier that 30% of our community is outside Kadena, is for this reason. The more you reach, the higher chances you have to be to be greeted by like great projects who come from BSC and build on Kadena because they have heard of Hypercent from this guy who bought at IDO.
When he did
So
an AMA in Digits
yeah,
Club. Yeah, exactly.
exactly. It goes
That's
well.
how it goes.
And besides that, what we are looking at projects, we are looking for them to share the same values with us. So we are not looking at projects who have raised a lot of money in private at a lot cheaper. Most of the projects who are talking to us go through sort of Hypercent labs, which means they have access to our advisors, not only on the ones on the website, but also tokenomics advisors and people who are like working from the shadows, let's say, to make good projects great. And obviously we are looking at how much they want to raise, for example, because we have like a fair estimate of what should be fair and not, right? And we are putting them in front of our community, our token holders. And if something is overvalued, from our opinion, we will not put it in front of our community.
Right.
Because if there's any, not only like the kind of risk that, we will KYC the projects and so on, like legal procedure before, right? But I mean, even economically, if there's a risk of people getting hurt by projects, we won't, we won't do that.
Fair enough. Another question from Jason. As Kadena is not as popular as Ethereum or BSC, new projects will come just only because of the safety and possibility of a raise. He's looking for more unique added advantages for new projects to migrate to Kadena, or at least build upon Kadena.
Like Kadena can do a lot of stuff natively, like even multi-sig. We have like our contracts are deployed multi-sig, and it's very easy to have like a 3-signature deployment of contracts if you want to talk like tech-wise. Besides that, Kadena can do fractional ownership on NFTs. So basically, you can have NFTs that are like pieces of them are owned by multiple wallets, multiple people, right? Obviously, the gas fees are low. Like as opposed to BSC, where CZ has like 7 servers in his basement. Kadena is actually decentralized, and there's a lot of nodes all over the globe who mine it. It's not only CZ's basement, right? You can see like a lot of nodes everywhere. So Yeah.
Okay, very unique view on the roadmap.
Yeah, I have a view on roadmap. Basically, people are asking for a roadmap, and we have never supplied one for a very fair reason. First of all, you are already using our product, so we are not like going to sell you an idea. Even for our own IDO, people were able to like to sample our product, right? They were on our Launchpad. They did, you know, KYC. They joined whitelist. They joined our wallet, and so on, right? So that's one of them. And secondly, we are building on Kadena, which is a new blockchain, which means that a lot of things are unknown for us. Everything we build on the blockchain itself, everything written in Pact, is basically pioneering. So we don't know how much it should take, right? If
Right.
it would be like even childish for us to put a timeline on stuff we
Well,
don't
maybe
know.
not
But,
like a timeline or like an actual
and the third
roadmap,
one
but maybe
is that
milestones.
we don't want to show our cards.
Oh, okay.
That's the third one. So we don't want to show our cards. It's an early blockchain, and a lot of projects are fighting for acquiring this ecosystem. Let's say for not dominance, but dominance. So a lot of people want to like take over this ecosystem, and they're fighting for it. Competitors. I mean, all the Kadena projects, we respect each other, right? The bigger ones, right? We are okay with each other. We congratulate each other on Twitter, but you know, we know what's at stake here. If Kadena and
Right.
when Kadena will succeed, you want. I mean, if you're not competing to be the best, for me, it's not fun.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Herman. I think that it's the procedure is risk management, not allowing projects that won't sell out. So basically, if the mathematics don't make sense, and if the project doesn't look good enough, and if they want to raise more than we think they should, we are not going to put them in front of the people. And if they don't raise enough, there won't be any problem to like to solve it. For example, we had like a quite different problem. One of our smart contracts that should have stopped people from buying hype when there is no more hype left didn't work, and we actually ended up selling 7% more hype. And it is a very funny story because we were all on a Zoom call. We didn't have any back end. Our back end was packed, was on Kadena. So our front end was reading some code in the blockchain. So basically there is like a pool bar telling how much hype there's left. But that pool bar was actually calculating math basically in how much Kadena we have in our wallet, right? And at some point it went to 0%, and we were like, congratulations everybody. And then it went -1, -2, -3, because we got more Kadena that we should have, because the sale didn't stop.
Right.
So we had to reimburse people basically. So we had to sell like 7% people, like 60 people, we had to send their Kadena back. So we had to do refunds for other reasons than not selling out, quite the opposite of selling more.
Sold too much.
But we know how to do it, and we will have a procedure in place.
Yeah, I mean, like it's part, I think, for any professional platform. Maybe a good question. I don't know if you have thought about these things yet, but I assume you have. Is there on Hypercent, will you introduce something like a Launchpad fee to cover like an insurance system where, like, of course, you will dox the team, you'll do whatever you can, but crypto is still crypto. If there would ever be like something like a rug or something, or like an early release by other pads on Kadena, if you do like a joint launch, is there something like a fee that you would charge the users and build it up to a fund where you can basically cover these type of things?
I don't think so, but I would launch a project that would do that. So I would launch a project that would create like the type of blockchain insurance, like you know, like how is it called? There is a project like USF, I think it was the token, and Shield Finance or something like that. They had the quite of like in blockchain insurance for stuff like this. So I'm not sure that I would turn the product itself into an insurance product, but because I would rather love it that somebody builds, because it's DeFi. An insurance product on Kadena would be a very good DeFi use case for us to launch. So if
Sure, but
somebody wants to
would you
build
incorporate it in your own Launchpad then? If somebody would launch it?
I would be the first client for those guys. If they buy it, we will be the first client, and then like, you know.
Because the risk, I mean, like as a Launchpad, you do carry obviously two sides of the story there. One, you have the partner with the agreement of launching their project. On the other side, you have the investor. So if everything goes great, that's what people expect. And if something goes wrong, you get complaints from two sides.
That's true. That's true. But a lot of that stuff you can just, you know, cancel with risk management initially. So this is a good idea for later, but there's a lot of stuff to build right now and extra complexity. But I think this is a great idea for BSC pad and stuff like that, where like there's like 15 launches a month, right? But Kadena is like a bit different, is organic, and we will not launch a lot of stuff just for the sake of it. Like NFT projects, even NFT projects without utility, we want to launch them because a lot of NFT projects are like top of the funnel for people entering crypto. As I was saying, it's a lot easier to understand the monkey than it is easy to understand like, I don't know, a DeFi pool and stuff like that, right? So a lot of people enter crypto through NFTs, and NFTs can create great communities and so on. So yeah.
Very clear. One last question from Gustav. Differentiation of your Launchpad relative to other successful Launchpads such as TrustSwap over your progression of, let's say, the last 6 months. What would be your unique factor? There's obviously a lot of big Launchpads on other chains. What would Hypercent's unique added value be apart from being on Kadena?
Well, obviously, one of the big advantages for us right now is being on Kadena, and Kadena having a community that wants to like to use our product to buy Kadena projects, right? So this is a two-sided question somehow. One of the sides is depending how well Kadena does in the market, like popularity-wise. So if you are going to be able to fight with a bigger Launchpad, obviously the blockchain you are building on should have a similar user base. If you want to compare to the other blockchain, right? So if you're looking at Solana, it has a lot of users, right? Obviously, Solanium has a lot of users themselves, which make them a big Launchpad. On the other hand, there's the factor of tiers. You know, most of the Launchpads are built to favor only very, very big players, and it has become like during the bull market, it is impossible to get allocation as a normal person, right? It is.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to stake like 50K worth of Solanium to get like a $500 allocation,
yeah,
you can do that, but not everybody will. And so what we want to do is, instead of favoring 200 people who can buy everything, we want to build a system where we get more users who actively are able to get into sales. So, you know, instead of favoring like 10 allocation, like the biggest guy is a fucking dictator there with his top tiers, looking at like those guys beneath him who cannot afford anything. We want to build a fairer system where even the little guy has a chance to enter, which means that we will probably penalize people for buying, like making guaranteed allocation more expensive and making the logic of lottery tickets better. So there's more to chance. And the more lottery tickets you buy, the more expensive they become. So making it a balance of because if people are
moving more on the fair launch system, right? Even not like the launch, but also the management of the pad would basically be like a sort custom-made anti-will system, right?
Yeah, I mean, we are not communists. We don't hate people who have a lot of money. No way. But we have seen a problem in the launchpads, and there are a lot of launchpads for people who can put in a lot of money. And we want to fill the market for the launchpad where everybody can put something in. Because in the end, the projects want to raise, if a project wants to raise $500,000, it's the launchpad's job how to raise it. what's the max cap, how many people you're going to have as holders. I mean, the Launchpad has that experience to share with the project. So you can, even if it's better for projects to have, like, instead of having 200 holders, it's better to have 1,000 holders, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, the spread is always important. At least you don't have the fluctuation on the token. If I just look not from my own point of view as an investor, more spread, less volatility, usually. That's a good one. And I mean, like, still quite a interesting journey to come, right, for Hypercent.
For sure, man.
So far already completed. It's cool to follow it from the start, right? Because not that many launchpads allow us. So thank you for that, to have a look, to see what the developers are, take us alongside in the big next milestone, the Kaddex pop, then hopefully to 4 weeks from now, estimate, right, as a rough estimate.
I think it's going to be sooner, but we'll see. Sooner than 4 weeks for sure. Anyways, because otherwise we're moving too close to Kaddex version 2, and it wouldn't make no sense to, like, you know, which I don't know when it's going to be, but obviously it should be at some point in the next month or something, right? Because they have their code in auditing, and as I was saying earlier, it's hard to develop unpacked. It's not hard. It's a nice language, but you cannot copy a lot of what other people have done. Like another blockchain, when you look at code and you just get snippets of it and build your own Frankenstein, it's not impossible here because everything is built. So they have sent their code for auditing, but the auditing firm needs more time because they need to learn Pact as well. So yeah.
Fair enough.
How you manage in supporting Hypercent community? Yeah, thanks. Basically, man, when we started this, we said that we are community. So we are community, we are Hypercent community as well. And we are there in the chat and we are replying to people and we are happy when people are happy. And we are fans of Kadena and fans of building this. And yeah, sometimes we cannot be on the Telegram because we have very, like, stressful days maybe, or like big concepts to juggle, like tier systems and lotteries and so on. But most of the time we will find time to be there. And I actually think that it's quite disrespectful for any project, and we will not launch any fucking project that cannot spend time with their community. If you're not on your community,
I think we all have one launchpad in mind right now. We're not going to drop the name, but yeah, there's definitely
is it on Kadena?
No, it's not on Kadena, but I think, yeah, you should be there for your community specifically if that's one of your main roles, right? Or like orchestrate how the whole thing, you as a launchpad, you bring everything together, right? Which I think is very important.
Yeah, so shortly, yeah, people are asking about Dubai. Yeah, Alex and Andrei went to Dubai. They caught the last day of Binance blockchain week and so on. It was pretty fun. They had some meetings there. Obviously, I cannot disclose what we are going to do after those meetings, but it was a first contact with Dubai. And there's the scene there is, yeah, since China kind of went over Hong Kong, a lot of stuff happens in Dubai now. A lot of the blockchain, like, events and so on, which used to be there. So yeah, we will probably go again there. And yeah.
Yes, good. I mean, I heard great things. Looking at the time, I appreciate you. I don't think we have any more questions. Thank you for being here once more. We will stay up to date with your run-up towards Kaddex, and I'll be sure to drop this on YouTube.
I'll keep you posted there. And thanks for having me. And yeah, thanks everybody who joined. And,
always appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a great day, guys.